Hey guys, so we need to talk, right? So Steven has this new hobby and he's been dehydrating and it's great. I love that he has a hobby. But my gosh, I'm a little concerned here. He's been dehydrating everything. Sure, fruits and vegetables, but I'm talking like whole jars of sauce and stuff from the garden and like this. He makes this powder stuff and everything. I'm just a little concerned. What is he gonna dehydrate next, right? Yeah, get it. I'm so excited! Hello everyone, I'm Steve, Mark's around, and this is Smokeysteveandmarc. Welcome back! So it's another Steve Will Try It tonight. Yay! We did a We Will Try It, I think, the last couple weeks. It was Mark and I both reviewing something, but tonight I'm very excited about the product. It's one I've wanted for a very long time, and I've had the excitement of getting to try out. Is the NESCO Snackmaster Food and Jerky Dehydrator. Now, we'll tell you straight out, I'm not a big fan of beef jerky, so we'll mention it briefly and keep it moving a little bit later. So, I've always wanted a dehydrator. I was always interested. I like the idea of preserving food and keeping food for a long time to conserve space, to extend shelf life, all that kind of stuff. And I always wanted a dehydrator and had one as a kid, as a gift that I got for Christmas. And of course, I was a kid. I didn't use it after 2 days. I played with it and I was like, oh, okay, that's done. I made one round of banana chips. So I've had a chance now, with sage eyes, to get a little more involved, read the directions, and try out a couple different features that it has. The machine we have has 6 trays stacked high. It's circular, and I'll show you how the airflow comes in. It is warm because it's a hydrator, so the range and temperature on this machine, I believe, goes from 95 to 160. And it says onto actually the top of the machine for what kind of food you're drying, how much temperature-wise you want to have it at. And then, of course, it's dry when it's dry, but there are measures of time that you can kind of get a window. Should I check it every hour? Should I check it every 5 hours? We'll try to show you what worked for us, okay? So, let's get into the kitchen with my trusty cameraman, and let's dry some stuff. Well, hello everybody. So we are in the kitchen with our new NESCO Snackmaster Food and Jerky Dehydrator. Thing of beauty, ain't it? Now, first thing I want you to take note of is the sound. This is how loud it gets. That might not work for you, it might, but for the rest of this intro, we're gonna unplug it. There is no off and on switch to the device. So you have to unplug it every time you want to take it out. So, NESCO. So this is the top element of a dehydrator. As you can see, there's different layers here, different stacks that come up. Each one of those will hold the food, and on the bottom is just a rack, and this top piece is the air element. So the air will start in here. Again, the machine does warm up at a high of about 160, and what ends up happening is it's not from the bottom where the air and the heat come up. It starts at the top, and the air actually comes out around the ring here. Interesting. So, with that on top, your air is going down and in, rather than coming up through the center. You keep the center open, as that's how the racks go. And as far as NESCO, they explain that there are dehydrators that have clear trays, but that because light, moisture can interfere with it, they keep it opaque. So it's beginning to be saved right at the beginning. So how do you dehydrate stuff? What do you do? I'm not a master dehydrator, I am a beginner. But there were a few things that seemed to be like general rules. So I'm gonna have you come over here. I'm gonna get a little fruity with you, and then we'll see how these trays stack up. All right, so we'll start with something that a lot of people like, a lot of people are familiar with. We're gonna start with banana chips. So for a lot of fruits and even some vegetables, the magic is 1/4 inch thick. You wanna have it, you can use a mandolin, you can measure it, but about yay thick. Remember, dehydrated food shrinks. So it's not going to take up the whole space. I'm going to show you in a little bit how a whole bunch of bananas can fit into a small spot. Now, this is your regular track that goes with the dehydrator, where there's no other screens, no other nothing. A couple of the accessories, I got that. I am the best. Anyway, so a couple of the accessories that come with it for the trays. Now, depending on whether these holes are too big to dry what you want to dry, and in some cases it is, they have a mesh. The mesh will go right on top of the tray. If you want to put something smaller pieces of something where you don't want them when they dry to fall through the grates, you can use that. They come with 3 of those. It also comes with 3 fruit leather trays. What's a fruit leather? Have you heard of a fruit roll-up? It's about the same thing, except you make it yourself and it's round. These are good for drying herbs sometimes. Things that are wet that need to dry out. If you want to dry out a liquid, you want to make your own broth base, anything like that. So the air will not go through, it'll just come onto that. So, the other accessory, and again, I said I was going to touch briefly on beef jerky, and here we go. So, it does make beef jerky 2 different ways. It comes with a gun. This looks like the thing you make those cookies with. This is part of the beef jerky press that comes with the machine. Their recipe for beef jerky is 2 ingredients, maybe 3. They give you the mix, and they suggest with their device to use hamburger, ground meat, mix the mix in with it, and then there's 2 different ways, and you just pipe it onto the tray. There's 2 different ends that go onto it. If you want to make a couple strips, you want to make a rope, and you pipe them onto the tray, put the lid on, and let it go. Jerky's going to dry at the highest temperature. It'll say that on the machine. On the cover, it gives you a few quick hints, but you want to dry it at about 160. It's a protein, it's got fat in it. You don't want to make yourself or anybody else sick. So, let's load some trays. Alrighty, so there we have our bananas on one side. I'm just doing this bit to show y'all. And an orange. Yes, you can dry oranges. You can dry anything from the bit of research I've been doing on YouTube. So, fresh fruit on the tray. We don't need a mesh or anything with it. And what we would do is take the top, put it on, set the temperature, let it go. If you're only drying one thing, you can just dry 1 rack. You don't have to stack 5 up on top of each other. But I wanted to show you some of the results because it's, of course, fun to show the prep. So, as if by magic, voila! There's our dried citrus to start. Now, these are pretty. I gotta say, they're pretty. Great for decorations. This in here, actually, I had a grapefruit that I had worked on. Some oranges, lemons, and limes. The only thing with citrus is that sometimes the heat of the machine can turn the sugars a little bit dark. It happens with strawberries and sometimes tomatoes too. Doesn't mean it's bad, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit discolored. But the lemons, I gotta tell you, these smell so good. So good. So there's our oranges. And there's our dried bananas. Now, as I said, bananas take up a lot less space when they're dried. And when we're talking dry, we're talking it's flat. There's no depth to it. It'll snap. They'll break open. Some of them a little chewier, you leave them on longer. You want to eat them in the next few days, make them chewy. If you want to keep them for a while, dry them pretty dry. And they're not bad. You can use it for banana bread. You can make a little banana dust out of it, put it in granola, put it on your cereal. All sorts of fun stuff. Now, what in hell is that? Well, I gotta tell you. Okay, so, not an original Steve idea, but very cool. We took one of the fruit leather trays. Obviously, you can throw some fruit on here, and I'll throw in my little spiel for my fruit roll-up recipe a little bit later. But this is the sheet we have, and this is pizza sauce. Why would you dry pizza sauce? Storage, somewhere to put it. It'll travel easily, and it's just like that. Puts them on the tray. 15 ounces is the size that I'm using for this. So just use it all. All right, so we're gonna spread out our sauce out to the ends, and the heat of the machine and the air will actually help flatten it out even a little bit more. Give it a tap. It'll help push out more. Then we take our tomato sauce, we put it on the dehydrator, we put the top on, and what did this take, about 4 to 8 hours, I think? It was done. So I was really happy with the results that actually came out of it because it turned into that. Now this is a fruit roll-up textured pizza sauce. It will come off the tray, be gentle. And I have a whole thing of sauce with a little peekaboo in the middle. So what do you do with dried pizza sauce? Let's show you. Ta-da! I had a little kitchen elf giving me a hand with the pizza dough. So there's our raw dough. You can use a pizza shell, make your own. The quick Kathy Mitchell one that I heard that I've used before is, here's a quick recipe. 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of lukewarm water, package of instant yeast, teaspoon of salt. Mix it all together till it's a dough. Throw it in the oven with the pilot light on or wherever else you would proof something for about 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And then it's ready to be pizza. Or you can bake bread with it. But that's a quick one if you don't have it in the house. So we have a fresh dough, and we're going to take our pizza sauce fruit roll and put it right there. And you're going to have a lovely crust in the center where it's just cheese and crusty, and you can pick it up easier. Look, there's a hole in the center, okay? So, next trick, it's dehydrated. Can we put cheese on it and dehydrate it and rehydrate it? No, we're going to give it a little spritz, okay? Have faith. I know this looks weird. But we're going to give it a spritz so it starts to rehydrate a little bit. And then I'm going to let that sit for probably about at least 5 minutes. What this will turn into is a sauce that will not drip or come out, but you're not going to bite it in a hard sheet like a fruit roll. It'll moisten up. It'll have a really intense tomato flavor also. So if you want to give it a whirl, give it a whirl. Of course, cheese. We got some mozzarella to go on top. As long as that water's under there, you can put the cheese on. Just don't hit it in the oven for about 5 minutes. And then the middle, and the edges, and voila. We have pizza, a little Italian herbs to make it pretty, give it a little extra flavor. And then follow the directions for the dough that's on whatever package you're using to do it in the oven. Ours is 375 for 10 minutes, so we're gonna go do that. While this is in the oven, or while it goes to the oven, I have a couple other things I want to show you just real quick. So, dried bananas come out as dried bananas. These are a little darker. They can be much darker. If you want your fruits or your vegetables to hold their color, a little bit of lemon juice and water, and give them a spritz or give them a dunk for things like apples and other stuff like that. So, here's the thing. This many bananas will fit in that jar. So it's good for storage. These are good for snacks. You can dry them till they're crunchy. You can dry them till they're leathery. If they're leathery, pop them into the fridge just to be safe. Also, we made a tomato sauce leather. I want to show you what I also have working. This is for my fruit leathers that I make. The recipe I have for the dehydrator isn't very complicated. I use 3 apples of any kind, cut up. You can skin them or not skin them, up to you. And then a handful of whatever fruit we have in the house. So I had some frozen strawberries and blackberries, and I threw that in. Put it in a pot, put it on the stove with maybe a cup of water, and let it go for like 1.5 hours on low, till the skins get soft and the berries are all that. Hit it with an immersion blender, or put it in your blender for however smooth you want it. You pour it over the tray, dry it for, I would say, 4 to 12 hours, check the temperature on the machine for what's recommended, and then you'll have a fruit leather too. So, other stuff. Space saving specifically. This is a little bit of dried vegetables. This is like a mixed vegetable, okay? That was from a jar that was about that big. So, these aren't the veggies. But real easy. Why would you dry something that's canned already? Well, for storage space, or if you want to make like an instant soup, you know, your own homemade kind of Lipton rehydrate thing, you could use those. They'd come right back to life within a few minutes. So, that's pretty good. These were dried carrots and green beans. These were done raw, as is, so if I add these to a soup or something, they not only have to rehydrate, but I have to cook them like they were from raw. And different vegetables and fruits do better or worse with drying, from what I'm finding out. And the last is my proudest, my super green powder. So, I was watching The Purposeful Pantry, which is one of my new favorite obsessions, my shows I'm watching, and it's a channel about dehydrating, tips, tricks, what works for beginners, for experts, it's got everything. And one of the things I saw as a project was making green powder. So this is about 4 bags of baby spinach, beet greens from the garden, there might be some celery tops in there. Put it on the trays and dry them. Now these will go pretty quick. You can dry them at a low temperature and let it dry out a little bit. You can do them fast. Once they're crunchy, take them out, put them in a blender. And again, this was like 4 or 5 bags of greens, and you get that much of this. I did it in our regular blender because I don't have a Ninja. You can get it powdery, but I mean, it's pretty powdery. You can hide this in food. I'm going to be hiding it in Mark's food, even though he can hear me. He'll never know. Because you get those green nutrients and stuff in your food, even if you don't like to chomp down on a bunch of spinach. So powders is another way that you can take your dehydrated food and turn it again into something else. So I'm going to get the pizza in the oven. I think it's been enough time to soak up now. And then when I come back, we will reconvene on the couch. We'll try some pizza and I'll give you my final thoughts, okay? Ta-da! Okay, that looks like pizza to me. So Mark cut through it, and the knife went through it, so we should be okay. I'm gonna give it a little taste. We'll just not do OMAD today. It's what I said. It's like an intense, more intense tomato taste. You're not gonna get your cheese running all over your crust. It's pretty condensed itself. But it's not chewy, and I didn't cut into this and pull out a disgusting leather of tomato sauce. So, for this preparation, that actually seemed to work pretty well. So, some closing thoughts on the NESCO Snackmaster Food and Jerky Dehydrator. I'll tell you right off the bat, because I've been playing with dehydrating stuff for a few weeks. This machine has made it so much more fun to experiment and try other things. Having the fruit leather trays were really cool because I had been doing dehydrating either in my caloric or in the oven, and I was burning the crap out of all the fruit leathers I was doing. You'd have to break them apart and they're crispy and everything. So this machine was much easier. It reminds me of the Dash a little bit as far as there's no switch. You can't turn it on or off, and there's no timer either. So you have to plug it in, and the plug's a little short. It's only about maybe 3-4 feet. So get an extension if you need to, depending on, you know, where you might put it in your kitchen or wherever. But the sauce came out okay. The fruit leathers came out good. They came out moist. It was easier to control the temperature. The fact that this machine goes from 95 to 160 is helpful. That tomato product thing that we did, that was my second try. And the third one we made for the video, because we like them. But the first one, the whole thing cracked. You couldn't pick it up. It wasn't the cool hubcap, you know, it was all broken up because I dried it too hot. So I would recommend, if you're going to get a dehydrator and play with it, to do a little research from some sources that seem reputable. Patience was something I learned while using a dehydrator as well. It's not dry. If it says it takes 8 to 12 hours, I would check it at like 8. You know, it doesn't mean it's done, but that means it's in the window where I guess it could be done. So, I mean, the bottom line is it's dry. Well, it's dry, I guess. So for quick snacks, banana chips, apple chips, other things like that, very good, very quick. As far as using it for beef jerky, I said that the odds are low that I would be. It's just not a food I care for. But if I did want to give it a try, I could try it with the hamburger meat. I've seen preparations where you use thin cut, like rib steak or eye round, whatever it is, and then they marinate it in a little soy sauce and brown sugar and dry that out, and it's supposed to be good. But again, I'm more of a fruit and veggie kind of guy, so I'm really excited about using it. I'm really excited to have it in the house. We have a garden that's going to be coming due. We're going to have a ton of tomatoes, so I'm excited to make some tomato powder and some like mock sun-dried tomatoes, like dehydrated tomatoes with a little bit of olive oil, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of options to play with. I don't think I'm going to get bored with it like I did when I was a kid and I had used it for 2 days. So Stephen's ranking is 2 thumbs up. Very much so 2 thumbs up. I'm very happy with the product. I'm going to continue to use it, I'm sure. Maybe sometime we'll do a video actually about dehydrating. This is meant to be about the NESCO itself. But I have to say I'm very happy with the way it came out. No sponsor, just it was a nice product and I liked using it. So thank you all for joining us on this arid journey, and thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. You get alerts when we have new videos and go live. We're on Facebook, Smokeysteveandmarc, Twitter at SmokeySteveA, Instagram, SmokeySteveandmarc, one word. Email address and contact info is all listed below as well. Please hit the thumbs up. Thank you again, and we will catch up with you very soon. All right? Look after yourselves and have fun drying. Say goodbye, Mark. He's outside. Bye. Have a good night.